Sometimes it's hard to see progress when projects are in the planning stage. That's why we wanted to tell you about the Freedom Trail, a walking and biking path near the Airborne Museum that's just about ready to break ground. Craig Hampton, Director of Special Projects for the city, gives us the first look at this exciting project.
Freedom Trail is one of the components of the North Carolina State Veterans Park. It's located along Bragg Boulevard from the section between Rowan Street and Hay Street. It consists of an enhanced walking trail that will begin at the end of the Freedom Memorial Park and will run parallel north along Bragg Boulevard until it reaches almost the intersection of Rowan Street, and then it will turn and go up into Rowan Park, which will eventually connect to all the inner city pedestrian and bike trails that the city has. The intent is to create both internal and external pedestrian and bike trails throughout the city where you can connect to most major city facilities such as Masrick Park, Festival Park, Linear Trail, which will carry you down to Botanical Gardens, and from Botanical Gardens you can get back on the Cape Fear River Trail, follow it all the way back up to Methodist College, and then eventually we'll be connecting sidewalks and bicycle paths from there, and you'll be able to get back to the downtown area. This particular part of Freedom Trail is enhanced in that the walkway itself is much wider. That's typically a sidewalk is 5 or 6 feet. This sidewalk will be 12 feet. That's for a couple of reasons. We expect a lot of use out of it, but it's also along the parade paths for the many parades that the city has, so we expect large crowds and groups on that. It's enhanced further by pedestrian lighting. It has a higher level of landscaping that is associated with it, both urban trees and urban landscaping such as plants and flowers. It's also, this particular section is also bordered by what we are calling Guardians of Freedom. These are architectural elements that are made of North Carolina granite that will be posted along Freedom Trail to symbolize sentries always standing at the ready to protect and serve the people of North Carolina and also the freedom of the country. The first phase of Freedom Trail will include a new comfort station next to Freedom Memorial Park, which is a restroom facility. It's both male and female. It'll be open on limited occasions whenever we have events downtown. The new comfort station will include additional parking. There's about 47 or 48 additional parking spaces that will be created next to the Freedom Memorial Park. It's actually an architectural element within the park, but it's more than that because it creates a new edge for the North Carolina Veterans Park. Right now, if you drive down Bragg Boulevard and you drive by the Airborne Museum, that's what you're doing. You're driving by the Airborne Museum. Freedom Trail is intended to allow someone to experience being in the park and driving through it. So it will take the edge of the park and actually move it over to the west side of Bragg Boulevard, so whenever a person enters into the park area, which begins at Rowan Park, they will feel as if they are driving through the park instead of by the park. So Freedom Trail becomes a very important element in that it keeps the boundary of the park to the outside of the person that's traveling in there, and you get the sense that you're inside of a place that is special. Well, the design team has been working on this project for about the last 9 months, and we are almost ready to issue bids for the first phase of Freedom Trail, which includes some improvements to the Airborne Museum parking lot and to Walter Street going into what will ultimately be the first phase of the North Carolina Veterans Park. We expect the bids to be ready for release probably in the late fall, with award by City Council before the end of the year, and completion of the first phase of Freedom Trail by the summer of 2010. The completion of the first phase of North Carolina Veterans Park is scheduled for opening day July the 4th, 2011. So it's certainly going to be a big day in downtown Fayetteville.